Hi Lee, thanks so much for your request. And thank you for telling me about you. I'm very sorry to hear that you have some medical issues that you have to deal with every day. I'm not sure I can do a 10 to 15 minute video simply because I don't think it would be actually fair towards other cameo requesters, so to speak. And yeah, I just don't think it would be fair, but you're more than welcome to check my songs on my social media or other things. But I thought I could mention what cheers me up. So I love traveling. I hope to one day visit every single country in the world. I have so far visited 61 and I'm going to country number 62 soon, to Luxembourg. And traveling has helped me in my worst times in my life. I had at one point an abusive partner and work was not going very well and I suffer from depression every now and then. And so I packed all my bags and I travelled full time for about a year just before lockdown, just before COVID-19 hit the world. And I would sustain myself with the money that I made teaching. I teach online when I'm not on set or on stage. So I would do classes online and that allowed me to travel through, I think, about 25 countries that one time. A lot of countries are very cheap, so you can just make, $50 per day, and that is enough to pay for a night in an Airbnb with local family. You can also help someone and make money that way, and that allows you to keep on traveling. And I would advise it to anyone who wants to sort of feel a bit better. I know that people think that traveling costs a lot of money. I think you can do it in cheap or cheaper ways, and that's what I did. You can travel using really cheap flights. Now I know, unfortunately, flying cheaply has a bit of a bad rep because of the ecological cost of it, but I would say if you have flights departing, if one more person gets on the flight that is already scheduled and planned to kind of be flown, until we figure out how to fly in a more ecological way, I think it's okay. So there are cheap flights. Again, there are websites where you can teach English. A lot of native speakers do not know that, but you can teach English. The whole world wants to speak English, and that's how you can kind of help someone and also make a bit of money to then keep on traveling. You can also volunteer as a teacher in many countries in Southeast Asia where I traveled, and in Spain, in Europe as well, Portugal. And so I would say traveling is probably one of the best things ever if you can do it. Even within your local area, I don't know where you are based. At the moment I am in Northumberland. This is my first time here. It's sort of just the northernmost part of England, where my partner is from. And even just travelling here is quite incredible. This is still England, the same country, the UK, but discovering its parts and its local history and culture is amazing, and really, really nice, and it makes you feel better. So I would say travel as much as you can, discover places around you, and there is a saying: if you feel sad, travel; if you feel happy, travel; if you have problems, travel. I don't mean escape from your problems, but traveling kind of gives you sort of this extra maybe amount of space, mental and physical space, to think about your life and see what you want to do and how you want to live your life. So I think leaving where you are based for even a short time, like a weekend, can really help. And sometimes you can have problems that you think you cannot resolve, and then you leave and go away for 2-3 days and suddenly you have a solution to your problem. So to me, traveling is super important. I would advise anyone who can to go and travel. Now, some people are scared, and I know that traveling on your own, especially when you're a female, can be difficult. So I always say stay safe first. But you can do it in a safe way. Google research. There are a lot of other travelers, lots of tips online. We are so blessed in 2024. We've got our, internet, which is filled with advice and tips, and communities built online of other travelers who can help you. So I would say go travel, or go traveling more correctly. I'm just sort of thinking out loud, and my students would probably be surprised that I sometimes make mistakes too. People ask me what countries I like the most. So I think when I traveled full time, this is 2019 to 2020, I think I visited about 25 countries, I'm not sure. One of my favorites was Iran, which is a bit controversial. People think that Iran is super dangerous, and I know politically, unfortunately, Iranian government is not always the most, what's the diplomatic word I can say? Iranian government can be in the news for things that are not right, let's put it this way. But Iran as a country and Iranian people and Iranian culture is just absolutely incredible and stunning. And I hope that one day Iran will have a more democratic government so that people can visit it easily without a threat of being arrested or put in prison, and they can discover the beauty of this country. So I would say Iran, definitely one of the top 3. Uzbekistan as well. Uzbekistan is super safe, so I would say to anyone, go and visit Uzbekistan. It's gorgeous. It's just, I mean, filled with culture, beauty, art, everything. Georgia, tiny little country, squashed between, I think, Russia and other bigger countries like Azerbaijan. Georgia, incredibly welcoming, hospitable place with a fascinating language that is different than any other language in the world. A country where people started making wine a long time before wine production began in France or Spain. So Georgian wine, absolutely fantastic, and with a long history and traditions. So I would say Georgia, definitely. Probably these are my top 3, and Vietnam in Southeast Asia. Such a beautiful place with people who are so hospitable and kind and generous. I could go on forever. So my thing that helps me lift my spirits when I'm sad is traveling, planning my travels. If I have a really bad day, I just think what country I could visit next. I always try to find cheapest flights, cheapest buses, train tickets, and as long as it's safe, clean, that's all that matters. I do not need to stay in 5-star hotels. I actually stayed with local families in Georgia, in Iran as well, in homestays. You can get to know people that way in the country because you meet local people who tell you about their country and their history and culture. So I always try to choose Airbnb or any other sort of local equivalent, because I'm not here to advertise a company. That would be what I do to feel better. So I hope that answers your question. And yeah, I hope that you are having a wonderful weekend. And yeah, if you have any questions about travels, you can ask me via social media, possibly. But I hope that answers your question. Now, I have only just moved houses, and that's why I'm sending this to you quite late, because it's been a very, very busy week, and now we are away. So I'm only now catching up with a lot of things. But again, I hope that makes you feel better. I hope that gives you some ideas and you can travel. I hope that you forgive me any mistakes that I have made. I had to speak 2 other languages today, one of my 5 languages that I speak, because I had a personal call with one of my family members, and my family is French and Polish. So I think, do not show this video to my students, because I may have made a few mistakes. But anyway, I hope that makes you smile. I hope you get to travel to places that you want to visit. Sometimes you have to save up. I understand that traveling again to certain places might be expensive because you need to do it in a safe way. But if traveling is your thing, I hope you get to travel as much as you can and as much as you want. Take care.